तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. Thank you for making it. You were discussing from last year? Last verse?
Yeah, I was discussing last two verses.
Okay. Okay. That is good. Hare Krishna, all the devotees joined online. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Okay. Okay, we are doing chapter 7, knowledge of the absolute. Okay, yeah. Last couple of classes we were discussing about who are the four kinds of people who approach God and who are the four kinds of people who don't approach God. Okay, so we'll just start from there. You can repeat after me. Namam duskritino mudha prapadyante naradhamaha Maya pritajnana asuram bhavamashitaha. So here Krishna is saying, Namam duskritino. Kritina means like credit. You can remember kriti is like credit. So duskriti means they have some credits, but not in a aligned manner. That means they're intelligent, but they'll use the intelligence to invent nuclear bombs, something like that. Someone is very smart, but he'll use his smartness to steal from his father. Someone is very clever, but he'll use his cleverness to cheat others. So they have something valuable, but it's misutilized. So therefore, the word duskriti means that kriti is not properly utilized. So those duskriti, who are those four people who don't approach God? The four people are, first one is mudha. Mudha means one who is foolish. Foolish means he doesn't see the permanent, or he doesn't see the long-term aspect. In Sanskrit, the word used is shreyas. Shreyas or prayas. Prayas means those people who go for short-term benefit. Shreyas means those people who go for long-term benefit. How many of you here are shreyas? You want long-term benefit? Yeah, we all, at least we would like to be shreyas. But many of us are prayas. Like for example, if I give you a $10 bill, or I'll give you a Kit Kat chocolate, which one would you like? $10? Why $10? You cannot eat $10, but you can eat chocolate. Yes, you can buy more than one Kit Kat. Isn't it? So Shreyas means he'll take the $10 and he can purchase more. He can see the future. Immediately there might not be that much benefit, but he knows in the future there is much more benefit. Whereas a small child would not go for $10 bill. go for chocolate, immediate pleasure. So therefore, people who go for immediate pleasure over long term happiness, they are very childish, isn't it? Because they choose chocolate over dollar bill. So muda means like that. They work so hard in this life just for some temporary results, just for some name, fame, luxury, some commodities. But the problem is they fail to realize that all these things go away with the body. You cannot carry these things to the next life. So there was once upon a time there lived a great king, and this king, because he's in a royal position, he was enjoying his life very nicely. He had a good tract of land under his control. He had a lot of ministers, everyone saluting to him, and so many people ready to do anything what he wants. And he had married so many queens. Can you ever think of Krishna when you're in that position? Pretty difficult. So this king was approached one day by a saintly person, because saintly person generally like to travel and they like to preach. They go to every home, they go to every person and they ask them to chant Hare Krishna. They ask them to study the Bhagavad Gita, become spiritual. So one such saint approached this king and told him, "You are wasting your human form of life, just living a life of luxury in this royal position. Why don't you practice spirituality? Because whatever you have as of now in your life, everything will be stripped away from you at the time of death. Everything will be taken away." So the king, he said, "Yeah, yeah, sure, sure, whatever, Swamiji." But he did not take it to the heart. So the saintly person told the king, "Okay, if you cannot follow these instructions of mine, at least do one thing for me." What is that? He said, "At least you hire one person, a foolish person, who and give him a stick and tell him, just go around the kingdom, doing nothing. Just go around the kingdom holding a stick, and you can pay him for that." The king felt this is very easy to do. Just hire a person, that means give him some money and give him a stick so that he can go around with the stick. And this should go on generation after generation. That means that person who will go around with the stick, when he gets old, he should give it to the next person. Now, who would do this? Would anyone of you volunteer to do this? Take a stick and go around the kingdom, but you get paid for it. No? Yeah? Okay. You'd do it, anything for payment. So his name was Murkha, because no one in the kingdom wanted it. So he was given the title Murkha. So king called all his ministers and told the ministers, "Go around the kingdom, look for this one Murkha who will be ready to take some payment, take a stick and go around doing nothing all his life." So the ministers went around, they were going throughout the kingdom, but no one wanted to do this thing. But one day they saw there was a person sitting on the tree, and he was sitting on the branch of a tree and cutting the same branch while sitting on the tip of the branch. So what will happen? If he cuts the branch, he himself will fall from the tree. But this fellow was, with all gravity and all seriousness, he was cutting the branch as if he's going to do something great. So they understood this fellow is a fool. They called him and they said, "Okay, this is king's order. Take this stick, take this money, go around the kingdom. Every month you'll be paid a salary." So this man took the stick and started going around the kingdom. Then a lot of many years passed. The king, he was bedridden with some disease, and it was almost about the time that he passed away from this world. So when he was bedridden, he called all his queens, all his ministers, all his relatives, and he was just paying them handsomely. He was giving all his property to the, to his sons. He was giving all kinds of luxury to his queens. He was paying huge amounts of salary to his ministers and soldiers. And then he was thinking that I'm forgetting someone. And then he was reminded about Murkha. Murkha means fool. And this king, he called for the Murkha. The Murkha came. And when the Murkha came, Murkha was shocked to see king in this position, because king was always on a big throne, always having so many servants, and always having his queens fan him. But now it was not that sight. He was lying on a bed and he was about to die. So Murkha asked him, "What happened, my dear king?" And the king said, "My dear Murkha, what can I tell you? Just as in this world anyone who takes birth has to die, similarly my time has come for me to leave this world." He said, "Okay, that's all right, but at least you should be able to carry your riches with you. Should I pack some riches in a basket so that you can take after death?" He said, "My dear Murkha, it's not possible. After I die, after I leave this body, whatever I've worked so hard for in this life, everything I have to keep in this world." Then he said, "But what about these beautiful queens? At least you must be able to take one of them with you. Tell me, I can arrange some sort of a ticket. They can travel with you." He said, "Murkha, it's not possible." He said, "Okay, at least some of your soldiers or some servants who can cook for you after death." He said, "My dear Murkha, you're proving yourself to be a Murkha. You're so foolish. How is it possible to take anything from this world after death?" And then he said, "My dear Murkha, I only have one request from you. And that request is, now that you have dedicated your life to serving me by taking the stick around the kingdom throughout your life, now it's time. Now you find a better Murkha than you and give that stick, and you retire." So the Murkha thought for a while. He had a stick in his hand. Now he was looking around for a better fool than him. And then he went to the king and placed the stick on the king. And the king was shocked. He said, "Murkha, how dare you think that I'm a better fool than you?" And the Murkha, he said, "My dear king, actually you are the biggest fool here. I am Murkha, but you are Mahamurkha. Why? Because you say that you cannot take any of these things. You cannot take your queens with you after death. You cannot take your riches with you after death. You cannot take your servants or soldiers. Whatever you have amassed throughout your life, you cannot take any one of them after your life with you. But you spent your entire life working for them." And then it dawned on the king. Yes, what this Murkha was saying was absolutely true. Then he understood, yes, I am the biggest fool. And the Murkha then revealed his identity. He was actually the disciple of the saint who had once come to the kingdom of this king. And he wanted to teach king a lesson. And he taught a very beautiful lesson. The lesson is, yes, we have to live in this world. But that doesn't mean we make this world the goal of life. Because whatever we take from this world, we have to give it up. When the small baby is born in this world, it comes with open hands. It comes with closed hands because it's grabbing nature. They come to just grab as much as possible, amass as much as possible in this world. But while leaving, everyone leaves with empty hands, isn't it? So therefore, first category is called as Mudha. Mudha means the foolish people who don't see how to plan after death. They just get stuck with all sorts of materialistic things to do with this life in this world. And we cannot take anything. You cannot take one penny with you. You cannot take any bank, whatever credit card or debit card. You cannot take your gold chain, your favorite t-shirt, your jersey, whatever it is. You cannot take anything. So why work so hard for it? Muda is that category who spend all their time working hard for temporary fruits of this world, which they have to leave back in this world at the time of death. And the second category who don't surrender to Krishna are Naradhama. Naradhama means uncivilized. We have already discussed this. Uncivilized means they're not trained in any kind of samskara. They're not trained in any kind of religiosity, any kind of culture. You know, people sometimes, with all respect to lefties, but they'll eat with left hand. you know. Generally in India, it's known, like if someone goes to pass water, you have to wash your hands and feet. But when they come to the West, they forget to wash feet. Some people don't even wash hands, isn't it? They just they go pass water and immediately they come and eat. Very uncivilized culture, very unhygienic. So that's Naradhama, where they have no training how to live. And Maya Aprita Jnana means, refers to those people who are very smart, but their intelligence is stolen by illusion. They use their intelligence to propagate illusion. They want to prove that you can be comfortable in this material world. They are Maya Aprita Jnana. And Asuram Bhavam Ashritaha means people who have taken shelter of demoniac principles, harming others, or pushing down others, jumping on someone else's head to get something, criticizing others, all these things, pulling down others, and this is all demoniac principles. Those are the fourth kind, Asuram Bhavam Ashritaha. So these are the four kinds of people who don't surrender to Krishna. And last class we studied about the four kinds who do surrender to Krishna. Chaturvidha bhajante mam jana sukritinarjuna arto jignasurarthati jnāni cha bharata rishabha. So there it was duskriti, here it is sukriti. That means they use their whatever they have, they use it in a right way. Who are these four kinds of people? Artho. Artho means distrust. When we come across a wall in our life, like wall like obstacle, then we find that there's no other hope than go towards Krishna. Jignasu refer to those people who are very curious. They want to know more, but out of curiosity, what is who is this Ganesh, or who is Kartikeya, who is Shiva, who is, they're just curious to know what is this Gita all about, isn't it? But maybe perhaps when it comes to apply in their life, they might not do it so much. They're just curious. Artharthi means one who is seeking wealth. Artha. That's all of us. Because we have come to America to seek wealth, isn't it? How many of you have come to America not to seek wealth? You at least. Okay. Yeah, we all have come to seek wealth. But when you don't get wealth, you go to Krishna. That's Artharthi. And Jnani is one who understands position of God. He is the one who wants to worship God and who wants to go closer to God. He's like a genuine spiritualist, Jnani. So Artho, Jignasur, Artharthi, Jnani. These are the four categories. Yeah. So this was discussed last time, so I'll go next one. And now Krishna tells Arjuna, amongst these four categories, who is most dear to me? Tesham jnani nityayukta eka bhaktir vishishyate priyo hi jnaninotyartham priyo hi jnaninotyartham aham sacha mama priyaha. So he is saying Tesham, out of them, Jnani is the best. Out of the distressed, the seeker of wealth, the curious, and the knowledgeable is the best. One who knows my position, who knows me. Why? Because when you know Krishna, such a Jnani, what does he do? Eka bhaktir vishishyate. Eka means with one pointed focus, he worships Krishna. He doesn't get distracted. And how long? Nityayukta means always he's engaged. You catch a Jnani, he'll be chanting Hare Krishna, he'll be worshipping Krishna, he'll be offering bhoga to Krishna, He'll be talking about Krishna to others. Such a person is very dear to Krishna, Krishna is saying. So, priyo hi jnanino atyartham. Atyartham means, I think, a lot. Highly, see, atyartham. Aham sacha mama priyaha. He is very dear to me. So, if you want to become very dear to God, what do you have to do?
To be jnāni.
Huh?
Jnāni, like we have to worship Krishna.
You worship Krishna. Not everyone does worship Krishna. But how do you worship Krishna? What are the qualitative words used?
One pointed focus.
Yes, one is with one pointed focus. And then,
Nitya-yukta,
what is Nitya-yukta?
constantly engaged.
Always engaged. Not one day I chant, then second day I take break. Then third day I chant, then 2 days break. Fifth day I chant, then 3 days break. That is not constant. That is whenever you have time, when you have nothing else to do in life. When you're about to die out of boredom, then you pick up mala and then you chant. So he's not a jnani. Okay. Can you read it, Mike?
Of these, the one who is in full knowledge and who is always engaged in pure devotional service is the best. For I am very dear to him and he is dear to me.
Yes. So he is in full knowledge of Krishna's position, and second, because of that knowledge, he is always engaged in pure devotional service to Krishna. And for such a devotee, Krishna is most dear, and that devotee is also most dear to Krishna. Purport?
Free from all contaminations of material desires, the distressed, the inquisitive, the penniless, and the seeker after supreme knowledge can and the seeker after supreme knowledge can all become pure devotees. But out of them, he who is in knowledge of the absolute truth and free from all material desires becomes a really pure devotee of the Lord. And of the four orders, the devotee who is in full knowledge and is at the same time engaged in devotional service is, the Lord says, the best. By searching after knowledge, one realizes that his self is different from his material body. And when further advanced, he comes to the knowledge of impersonal Brahman and Paramatma. When one is fully purified, he realizes that his his constitutional position is to be the eternal servant of God. So, by association with pure devotees, the inquisitive, the distressed, the seeker after material
Amelioration.
amelioration, and the man in knowledge all become themselves pure. But in the preparatory stage, the man who is in full knowledge of the Supreme Lord and is at the same time executing devotional service is very dear to the Lord. He who is situated in pure knowledge of the transcendence of the Supreme Personality of God is so protected in devotional service that material contamination cannot touch him.
Yeah. So who can become dear to Krishna is everyone. So even if one is coming to Krishna, coming to spiritual life, coming to a temple, maybe for economic reasons, maybe to get a job, pray for a job, pray for any material things, or pray to remove distress in one's life, or out of curiosity, what is this temple all about? Or actually they know and understand Krishna's position, therefore they come to worship Krishna. However, they come to temple of Krishna, because they're coming close to Krishna, immediately they all get purified. Just like anything that goes to close to the sun. For example, if you put a metal in heat, the impurities are removed, isn't it? So similarly, whenever if when we go close to Krishna, we add Krishna in our life, immediately there's purification of heart. So generally, it doesn't really matter who or for what reason one comes to Krishna. What matters is how much is our heart getting purified from the contamination. Yes, in the beginning, one may be looking for material reasons to approach Krishna. But Krishna is all pure, And as soon as you come close to Krishna, immediately we also become pure. And some people don't like that purification, and therefore they don't want to come too much. One boy was asking me, Prabhu, my fear is if I practice Krishna consciousness a lot, then I might become purified of lust. I might become purified of greed. I might become purified of anger. Then how will I live my material life? Because you are too pure to enjoy anything. Does that make sense? But we should not be we should not be worried about purification. Purification means in our heart there are lower callings that will pull us down and push us in the wrong direction towards sensual enjoyment. Sensual enjoyment is not wrong, but generally sensual enjoyment that leads to forgetfulness of Krishna, that is wrong. So Krishna is telling Arjuna that yes, there are people who come to me, but it is not that they cannot get purified. Anyone who comes to temple of Krishna can get completely purified. In Srimad Bhagavatam, it is explained. Kirata hunandra pulinda pulkasha ya veera shumbha yavana kasha deya ye necha papa shud ye necha papa shud apash what is it? Let me just show it to you. Ye necha papa yad upashrayashraya. Prabhu Vishnu Namaha. Yeah. किराट हुणांद्र पुलिंद पुलकशा या बीर शुंभा यवना कशा दया ये नीच पापा यदपाश्रया श्रयाः शुद्ध्यन्ति तस्मै प्रभु विष्णवे नमः. Here it is being mentioned there are different kinds of classes of people who are not considered very civilized. Kirata Hunandra Pulinda Pulkasha. Kirata is a province of old. Huna is part of Germany. Pulinda, the Greeks. Pulkashaha, some other province. Abhira, part of old Sindh. Don't take offense, this is all Bhagavatam. It's true. Shumbaha, other province. Yavana is the Turks, today's world Turks. Kasadayaha, Mongolian. Anye, and others. So, why are they considered contaminated? Because they are addicted to sinful activities. Anyecha, papaha, addicted to sinful acts. But if they take shelter of Krishna's devotees, even they get purified. Shuddhyanti tasmai. Shuddhyanti means that once they get purified. Yeah. Can you read translation? Someone else?
Kirata, Muna, Andhra, Pulinda, Pulkasa, Avira, Sumba, Yavana, members of the Khasa races and even others addicted to sinful acts can be purified by taking shelter of the devotees of the Lord due to his being the supreme power. I beg to offer my respectful obeisances unto him.
Yeah. So similarly in 6th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam it is said, no one can commit enough, that much amount of sinful activities which one holy name, chanting of one holy name can purify, cannot purify. That means you cannot say, Prabhu, I have committed so much sinful activity, how much if I chant, nothing will happen. That much I'm so sinful. You cannot say that. Because the power of Krishna's holy name is so much, one you chant, one Krishna name or one Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, it is sufficient to destroy all of the mountainous amount of sinful reactions. Everything is burnt to powder. But at the same time, if one tries to cheat Krishna like that, and Prabhupada quotes in Christianity, it's very common sight to see people committing sinful activities and every Sunday they go and confess. Just so that from Monday again they can commit sinful activities. Why? Because Sunday is there to confess. Then you are done. Jesus takes your sin, isn't it? So not like that. But at the same time, if one sincerely chants the holy name of the Lord, all his sinful reactions are destroyed.
What if someone has their name as Krishna? Like if their child name is Krishna and they're calling,
Still they get the benefit.
even if they're doing sin.
Yes. Still they get the benefit. I mean, a similar case study was of Ajamil. You know Ajamil, right? Ajamil committed all kinds of sinful activities, and the time of death, when the Yamadutas came to, take him. Let me see if I can find a photo of Ajamil. Yes. Oh, let me. I think this is not being shared, right? Stop. Yeah. Let's see which one. Let me just. This no. This is good. You can see here. See, these are the Yamadutas. For the sinful people, the Yamadutas come at the time of death, and there are many known case studies where, for example, one case study was a Muslim woman. She was in hospital, and she saw these horrendous creatures, and she was about to die. So next day, somehow, she was not taken, but at night she was able to see. I think something like they were taking the person next to her bed in the hospital. So then she started describing them, and she's Muslim. She has no reference of Yamadutas or anything. And she was explaining it to some doctors, and one of the doctors he had heard about Yamadutas. I'm going to immediately find out these are Yamadutas. Yamadutas or Yamakinkaras are the servants of Yamaraj. Yamaraj is the god of death. So the time of death, when someone is very sinful, they are immediately snatched by these Yamadutas. So that time, see, you can see this photo is not full, but you see here.
Prabhu, then who comes for people who are not sinful?
Some divine beings come.
Really?
Divine beings, one who is not sinful.
So are they still reincarnated?
Yes. So when the Yamadutas come, they take them to Yamaraj. Yamaraj does the judging, and he says if how much sinful activities you have done, then you suffer in hell for that.
And then
And then they will also be put into different, if for the good they have done, they will enjoy some heavenly pleasure. Then again they'll take birth in Bhuloka. Again they get a human body. I mean any other.
sometimes generally they say after
Extra.
one day, for example, any grandparents died, and the next day a child is born or a grandchild is born, and
Yeah, it is
they
not.
always say that
Is the grandfather reincarnated? It's not. Next day it's not.
that's not happening.
No. Because they also have to go to Pitraloka. 3 generations they stay as Pitras. 3 generations, like what is it? Pitamaha, Papitamaha, and one more like that is there. Basically, 3 generations of grandmother or grandfather they stay in Pitraloka. So, say you can imagine a buffer space. In computer science, you have some buffer, array of size 3. So, say the great grandfather is there, the grandfather and the father. Now the son dies. Then, as he gets in, the last one goes out. Then he goes further ahead in his journey, like that. Something like that. In Garuda Purana, it's explained further. More explanation is given.
Even if you're reaching nirvana, will you reach that space of enjoying or like wherever you are, and then will you reach nirvana after that?
So, I mean, the concept of nirvana is our liberation, isn't it? So, one who is liberated means he'll be liberated from his karmic bondage. I mean, his activities will be akarma, not good or bad karma. These Yamadutas come for people who have committed sinful acts. So, for one who is he is eligible for attaining liberation, for him, he has not committed any acts that is going to bind him in the material world. So, he has not done anything bad.
So if it's someone who's like going to be reborn again, it's like
Yeah.
divine beings come, and then that person is taken to like that kind of like that state in between for like a few generations, and then there's a decision made on how they'll be reborn again.
So, I mean, there's no exact reference in the Bhagavatam for it, but definitely Garuda Purana talks about it, which I have not studied. So in my understanding, how it happens is someone has to come to take you. So first they take to Yamraj, take the person to Yamraj, and then there is whatever, Pitra Loka, and after that maybe hellish suffering in Patala, and then maybe another destination for the good activities he has done, something he has to undergo, and then again he comes to the earth where again he can take birth.
So does someone retain whatever they have gotten in life, like either the good or the bad when they're in that state? Do they take some properties from that when they're reborn again so they can learn from it?
Some properties, yes. I mean, some places it is also said, like if someone has to be born as a pig, he's punished and given a suffering like that of a pig, so that he gets trained in eating. Say for example, someone has to be born in a pig, then he's also trained in eating stool first, then he is given a pig's body. Yeah, so it's something like that, and definitely whatever they undergo, they get some they practice it, they do carry some characteristics, because in Srimad Bhagavatam it is said, by understanding our current nature, you can understand what body you are occupied in your past life. It says like that. And by understanding how you are going to behave, you can understand what body you are going to get in next life. Like that, fourth canto Bhagavatam says.
But Prabhu, if there is hell and heaven, but also we say we will always come here, right? For whatever good or bad we have done, that is where we are stuck in the cycle of life and death. Then why heaven or hell also for punishment? Too much punishment there.
Well, the hellish punishment is, yeah, it is too much.
No, but aren't we taking birth to negate the good and bad we have done, right? That forms our destiny when we are born.
Correct.
So I understood that the karma, that whatever we do, we come here only and do it. But you
We
are saying
cannot.
we are dying, and then also there is hell and heaven
Right,
happening.
yeah.
So both are happening.
Yeah,
That
both
will
are
also
happening.
happen, and will come back again.
And make the material world.
And the whole journey, do we remember what we did in our
No, we
life?
don't remember unless remembrance is given by Krishna. Otherwise, we don't remember.
No, Prabhu. When you die, you do you still remember what happened in your whole life?
Oh yes,
People
yes.
generally say that
It is
you
said.
get a flashback.
Yeah,
of
yeah,
the
yeah,
whole thing.
yeah.
And then
And even if they don't get flashback in front of Yamaraj, the entire life is read out. All the activities the person has performed is read out by the Chitraguptas.
so until you come down here, you will remember the whole of your journey, like whole your if you suffered over there, like if you suffered in the hell, you will remember.
Or
that.
before you occupy a body and come to Bhuloka, like that, you're saying? I'm not sure. I don't remember what happened before I took birth. So
So is it written in scriptures?
I haven't heard anything like
So
that.
that whole thing is only in
Garuda Purana. That's the main
or
afterlife Purana you may want to read. The afterlife Purana is Garuda Purana. Anyway, Srimad Bhagavatam can take you up. There's no need to understand every technical aspect, because it's not really required. Like for example, even if you can remember, so what? You still have to chant and go back to garden. It doesn't make much of a difference, isn't it? So at the same time, one thing we can say is, because you were saying that example of, you were saying, no, someone named as son named Krishna. So Ajamil had a son named Narayana. So when the Yamadutas came, when the Yamadutas came, Ajamil immediately, out of great fear, he screamed out the name of his son, the 10th smallest son, Narayana. Narayana, like that, loudly he screamed out. That is because he was maybe scared, probably his life is going to be taken, so he was just crying out the name of the person whom he is most attached to. Or he was also probably scared that what will happen to my dear son. Either way, because he screamed the name of Narayana very helplessly, without any expectation by chanting I'll get something in return. He don't have any such expectation, just he screamed loudly. So that chanting of the holy name is called as Nam Abhas. There are 3 levels of chanting of the holy name. The purest is Shuddha Nam. Shuddha Nam means the pure holy name. When you chant the pure holy name, that's when we hear the benefits. When you're just chanting one Shuddha Nam can destroy all our sinful activities, sinful reactions to all our sinful activities. But that pure form of the holy name is not easily chantable. You have to be pure to chant a pure holy name. Shuddha Nam. Then comes second level is Nam Abhas. Nam Abhas means it's a reflection of the pure holy name. The analogy given is just like before the sun rises, the sun is the pure holy name, but before the sun rises, there's already light in the sky at dawn. So that light in the sky is Namabhas. So yes, still some sinful reactions are taken away, but Namabhas is still not Shuddhanam, but it's still very potent. So what Ajamil chanted helplessly, he was not addressing the Supreme Lord Narayana, but he was addressing his son Narayana. But he cried out the holy name in a helpless manner without any expectation. So immediately the Vishnu Dutas, they came and cut the Yamapash, because the Yamadutas had put a rope around his noose around his neck and they were pulling the subtle body out. So the Vishnu Dutas came and cut the Yamapash. And the third level is called as Nam Aprad. Nam Aprad means when you're chanting, you're looking at the phone. When you're chanting, you're watching TV. When you're chanting, you're thinking, when will this end? When you're chanting, you're talking to your friend, having a best conversation while chanting. The distracted chanting, radar-like chanting, kirtan japa, or phone japa, all these type of japa is all Nam Aprad. And Nam Aprad means what happens? It is the chanting and hearing about Krishna is like water. You're watering the sapling, or it's called as Bhakti Lata, the sapling of our love for God. Love for God is just sprouting, and you water it by chanting the holy name, chanting and hearing. But when you don't chant purely, if there is sapling and you have to water sapling, the water is going on the other weeds in the heart. So the water is not, you want to water because you're distracted. Instead of watering sapling, you're watering the weeds. So if anyone has done gardening here before, you've done gardening. So now you know when you see the weeds, you cannot easily recognize the weeds. They look very similar. They look like genuine plants, isn't it? I have never done, so you can tell me. Yeah, and they're also sometimes very deep rooted. But how do you remove the weeds? You just have to like pull them out. Yes. So what if someone is watering the weeds? That would be the worst thing to do. Instead of watering the sapling, you're watering the weeds. And the weeds, what do? They take the nourishment that's meant for the sapling. They take all the nourishment and they become even stronger. So when we do Nam Aprad, or when we're chanting in a very distracted manner, we're not in hearing, we're just offending the holy name, that time we are growing these weeds, and those weeds are desire for name and fame, desire for material enjoyment, all the materialistic, the lust, anger, greed, we are growing it. So therefore when we're chanting, we have to be very, very careful. So that's the problem with offensive chanting, or it's called as Nama Prad. So here, when Ajamil was chanting, he chanted Namabhas. Because he chanted purely, immediately the Vishnu Dutas came and they cut the Yamapash and they gave him a second chance. Yes.
I was just wondering, so like when I started chanting, it was distracted chanting because
Yeah.
it was very difficult for me to focus. But if someone is like trying to focus even if their mind is wandering, is that also counted as Nama Prad or is that counted as the second?
So just like a child, when he's trying to walk, he'll inevitably fall because he's trying to walk. But the sincerity is taken into consideration. So because Krishna is a person, and he's very compassionate, he's called as ocean of mercy, ocean of compassion. He definitely sees the sincerity on the part of the devotee. But if someone voluntarily gets distracted on account of not taking it seriously, then the repercussions are there. Otherwise, if we are trying our best to be focused, then it's and always before we chant Hare Krishna, we chant Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda. We chant these 5 names because there are 5 personalities who inaugurated the chanting of the holy name in this age. So we take their permission, and they also help in negating any other offenses which might come up. Okay. Okay. So yeah, basically I was making the point that when we come to Krishna, then we become purified. Just because Krishna is like the sun. Sun can even purify urine, but it doesn't get affected. So Krishna also, he purifies our hearts of all the contamination like lust, anger, greed, and he doesn't get affected at the same time. Yeah. And here Sri Prabhupada is telling how to become very dear to Krishna is this. First of all, we have to have full knowledge of the Supreme Lord. What is Krishna's position? You can only respect a person based on your understanding of the person. Say we are all sitting in this room, and just suddenly you find out, say Amit is actually a CEO of a top, underdog AI company. Okay, so we didn't know that. Probably now he introduced himself. So immediately we give respect. Someone might say, "Bro, why don't you sit on a chair? Should we get you some water?" Your dealings will differ, isn't it? It's not the same because we understood his position. So when we understand a person's position, our dealings with that person change. Similarly, when we understand who is this Krishna, today's the media, social media, they have spoiled the understanding of Krishna. They're actually undoing what we are trying to do. We are trying to glorify Krishna, and they are trying to blaspheme Krishna. They're trying to put up Krishna's image as someone who is a lusty boy, someone who is ordinary, someone who is just a cowherd who does naughty things. This is not Krishna. Even before we appreciate his pastimes, we have to first understand his glory. So before we understand his sweetness, we have to understand his greatness. So if we want to become dear to Krishna, the point number one is understand Krishna's tattva. Tattva means what is his position. Some people say, like I was talking yesterday, we had monthly youth festival. After the festival, I was speaking to some people. I was just telling him, why don't you chant Hare Krishna and at least start with 10 minutes a day. And he was saying, yeah, I do many other mantras also. That's the problem. So because I do so many other mantras, I'll try to add this also. I said, yeah, you do the other puja also, but add 10 minutes. Then he said, yeah, I can chant Krishna's name, then I'll chant some other god's name also. He was saying like that. Yeah, but then is Krishna and other god the same? So even to understand what is Krishna's position, one has to study the scriptures. For example, today in this world, people worship gods based on what they want from them. You worship Ganapati for success. You worship Lakshmi for Lakshmi. You worship Shiva for material prosperity, or Durga also for material prosperity. Like that, we worship different demigods for what we want from them. But Krishna is called as Adi Deva. Adi Deva means he is the origin of all the other gods. Let me show you. Suta Uvacha Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Maruta
Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Maruta
Stunvanti Divyaistavai
Divyaistavai
Vedai Sangapadakramopanishadair
Vede Sangapada
Gayanti Yam Samagaha
Gayanti Yam Samra
Dhyanavastita Tadgatena Manasa
Jnanavasthatena Manasa
Pashyanti Yam Yogino
Pashyanti Yam Yogino
Yasyantam Na Vidu Sura Suragana
Yasyantam Na Vidu Sahasragana
Devaya Tasmai Namaha.
Devaya Tasmai Namaha.
Yeah. So here the Suta Goswami is establishing Krishna's position. He says, Yam Brahma Varuna Indra Rudra Maruta Stunvanti Divyaistavai. We are talking about that personality unto whom the lordships like Brahma, Varuna, Indra, Rudra, Shiva, Marutaha, they all glorify him. Stunvanti divyaistavaihi. And the Vedas also glorify him. Vedai Sangapada Krama Upanishadai. So Upanishad also glorify him only. Gayanti Yam Samagaha. And the yogis, whom are they meditating upon? Dhyana Avastita Tadgatena Manasa Pashyantiyam Yogino. The yogis also, in the heart of their hearts, are meditating on the personality of the Supreme Lord, of Lord Vishnu or Lord Krishna. Yasyantam na viduhu. And still, he is not to be understood. He cannot be understood neither by the asuras nor by the suras. Na vidu sura suraganaha devaya tasmai namaha. To that person, we offer our obeisances. Like that's what the Goswami is saying. He's saying that means Lord Vishnu is worshipable by all the demigods. In 10th chapter, 2nd verse, Krishna says, Aham Madar Hidevanam. And similarly, you will find in where else? In different Upanishads, in Narayana Upanishad or in Purusha Sukta, everywhere Krishna's position is described as the person from whom all everything comes. Aham sarvasya prabhava matta sarvam pravartati iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvitaha. Krishna is telling Arjuna that everything in this world and the spiritual world, everything comes from me. And similarly, it is said, Eka Narayana Asita. That means before creation, there was only one person. That is Lord Narayana. There was nothing else. Then from Narayana came Brahma, from Narayana came Shiva, from Narayana came the Adityas, from Narayana came different personalities are mentioned later on. So when we talk about Krishna, it is not some ordinary boy. We are not talking about some Krishna in this world. When someone named Krishna, this personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, his position is that which cannot be attained by anyone else. And therefore Krishna says in the 7th chapter, which we have already done, Mattas Paratram Nanyat Kinchi Dasti Dhananjaya. He says, my position cannot be attained by anyone else. I have no second, I have no equal, I have no superior, Krishna says. So he is very distinct in his position. His qualities are unmatchable. He is also the embodiment of all kinds of rasas. Krishna is also called as he is Paramatattva. I'll just tell you 3 words. Let me write it down. Can I write it down somewhere? Because you might not remember these words. Here's text. Okay, let me see. I think I should be able to write it down somewhere. Doc. Take notes. Create a online devotee, you can tell me if you can see.
You can see.
Okay, thank you. Okay. 3. What is it? One is he is Param Tattva. Parama Tattva means what I was explaining. He is the greatest. Krishna says, I am the greatest. My position cannot be attained by anyone else. And he is the foremost of all the demigods. And from him, everyone else is created. That's Parama Tattva. And second one is Sarva Shaktiman. Sarva Shaktiman means the whole material world is being organized. It is seems to be very well managed because of Krishna's energies. There are primarily 2 energies, actually 3 energies: the material energy, spiritual energy, and the jivas. That means Maya Shakti, then there is Antaranga Shakti, and then there is Tatastha Shakti. But in this material world, you will find laws like law of karma, or even in physics you have laws, in chemistry you have laws. All these are different energies of the Supreme Lord. So he manages everything. He makes sure everything is running nicely. And third one is Akhila Rasamrita Murti. That means Krishna is, he can relate with everyone. He can relate with all kinds of devotees. He doesn't, I don't think you can even see it. Yeah. Akhil Rasamrita Murti means he is the embodiment of all kinds of rasas. He deals with devotees like Hanuman, who wants to serve him physically. He deals with devotees like Madhumangal or Subala, who are, in a very, they want to joke in a friendly manner. It is said when Krishna Balaram defeated Chanur Mushtik in the wrestling arena, and then Subal came, his coward boy, friend. Subal came and saw Krishna just defeated these two huge, humongous wrestlers. And then he said, I can't believe that Krishna defeated them. And then there was another wrestling match between Subal and Krishna, and Subal defeated Krishna. So Subal, this is just like a friendship thing. So Krishna reciprocates with certain people as on the basis of friendship. He reciprocates with his parents Nanda, Yashoda, Devaki, Vasudev as in a Vatsalya Ras. Vatsalya Ras means he allows to himself to be like a child and them to showcase their parental affection. And then he also relates with the gopis in a loving manner. That also like a paramour, like boyfriend, girlfriend, what you see in this material world, that's completely perverted. It is a perverted reflection of what is actually in the spiritual world, which is completely pure. So he reciprocates with different devotees according to how they want to relate with the Lord. Like once a peacock came to Krishna and said, my dear Krishna, can you sing this particular raga on your flute? So immediately he played it on this flute and the peacock started dancing. So he can relate with everyone. We can, in this world, love is very limited. That means a cockroach only falls in love with cockroachini. Cockroach will not fall in love with any other species. Cat falls in love with another female cat. Human being falls in love with another human being. It is very limited. But anyone or of any species can love Krishna. That means what? Krishna is the object of love for everyone, all species. Because he is, Krishna says that I am the seed giving father of all living entities. He goes as a Paramatma in the heart of human being also, Antaryami, but he is also as situated as the Paramatma in the body of an earthworm. Or he is situated in the body as a Paramatma in the body of a cockroach. He is there as Paramatma. Sometimes we make difference. I like these kind of people, I don't like those kind of people. But Krishna doesn't make any difference. Whatever kind of people, however sinful, however pious, Krishna is present with them, next to the soul, in the region of the heart. You see? So therefore he is Akhila Samrita Murti and he has particular relationship with every soul. And that's how he deals. And these are the three characteristics of the Supreme Lord. So what is it? First one is Paramatattva. Second one is Sarva Shaktiman, through which he runs this material world with all his energies. And third one is Akhila Rasamrita Murti. So therefore, Krishna's position is unique because of all these three things. Everyone can relate with Krishna. And I'm telling you this because Prabhupada says that to become dear to Krishna, first of all, we need to understand his position. It is said whenever it comes to understanding Krishna's position, one should not become lazy. Because as soon as philosophy comes, we become tired. As soon as some stories come, we become alert. No, as soon as philosophy comes, we have to be very, very alert. What is that verse in Chaitanya Charitamrita? Siddhanta balya chitta na kare alas. I'll show you that also. Siddhanta balya chitta. Is it? Siddhanta. Anyway, I think my spelling is wrong. Yeah, Siddhanta bolya chitte na kar alas. Iha hoite Krishna lage sudrida manas. Correct. Sudrida manas. So it says, a sincere student should not neglect the discussion of such conclusions, considering them controversial, or for such discussions, strengthen the mind. So to understand Krishna's position, one should be very eager. Because you don't understand Krishna, we can never chant. See, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita 10th chapter, he says, Aham sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante ma buddhabhava samanvitaha. He says, anyone who understands that this material world and the spiritual world and everything in this world is coming from me, that person, what will he do? Iti matva. If one understands it, my position, immediately he begins to worship me. So if someone says, I know who Krishna is, but I don't worship him, that means you don't know who Krishna is. Isn't it? If you know who Krishna is really, you will worship him. Isn't it? If someone says, I know who Krishna is, but I don't worship him, that means he has some misconception about Krishna. Because Krishna's qualities are so attractive, anyone will worship him. So therefore, to understand Krishna, one should not show any sort of laziness. Yes, there will be, to understand Tattva is not always easy. To understand the position is not easy. A lot of Sanskrit, lot of terms or a lot of concepts are there, but still it is very important. And in this way, when we try to understand Krishna's position, one's mind becomes attached to Krishna. More you get to know Krishna, more you fall in love with Krishna. Isn't it? And similarly, in this material world also, if you want to develop a relationship with anyone, you need to really get to know the other person. Otherwise, we generally judge the person. Oh, he's like this, or he looks like this, or she is of that color. You can judge person externally, but when you sit and talk, when you get to know the other person, oh, he has such nice qualities. He has a quality of compassion. He has made sacrifices for the other. He's very noble. He's very honest. More you get to know these qualities, more you fall in love with the person. I'm not saying love as in a very gross way, but yeah, you appreciate that person. Similarly, we want to understand qualities of Krishna. We want to understand the glories of Krishna, because more and more we understand, more and more we fall in love with Krishna. So first point to become dear to Krishna is we have to understand Krishna in full knowledge. But just understanding him through knowledge is not sufficient. There is part 2 to it. What is the part 2? We have to execute devotional service. So one is sadhana, where we try to understand. So that is swadhyaya actually, where we try to understand Krishna. And second one is seva, sadhana and seva. So chanting Hare Krishna regularly. What is this executing devotional service? We all can do it wherever we are. We can execute devotional service. The easiest way is, you can remember ABCD. A is associating with devotees. Why to associate with devotees? Because they talk about Krishna. You catch the same fever. What is devotees' fever or their disease? That they cannot stop talking about Krishna. So when you associate with devotees, you also, that disease is very contagious. You also keep hearing and you also start speaking about Krishna. So first one is A for association. And second one is B for the right kinds of books. Studying Bhagavad Gita, or Sri Prabhupada has given so many kinds of books, Bhagavatam. More you study and more you memorize these verses, more it stays in your mind. How many of you have memorized maybe 1 or 2 verses in Bhagavad Gita? You know something? Oh, you know some verses? Okay, others? You also know something? You can raise your hand. Na kare alas. Yeah, we all should memorize as many verses. You should be knowing, like Krishna's, in Gita there are 700 verses, you should know at least 100. At least 100 verses. Because more you know, it is very fresh. The philosophy stays fresh in the mind. More you don't know the verses, the philosophy slips out. So studying books, studying as if you study CBSE textbooks or in your college, because marks, scores are important. Similarly, you have to scrutinizingly study Prabhupada's books. That's B. And C for chanting Hare Krishna. That is devotional service. Regularly chanting Hare Krishna. Because when we chant Hare Krishna, first thing that happens is immediately the heart gets cleansed. And second thing that happens is Krishna gets established there. But we don't chant Hare Krishna only, we only keep hearing, then it doesn't make any sense. Then one says, okay, I already know this, let's hear something else. Because one is not developing relationship with Krishna. If you want to have a good relationship with Krishna, we have to make some sacrifice. And that's the nature of any relationship in this world. You want to develop relationship, some sacrifice is required. And for Krishna, little more is required. Isn't it? So C for chanting the holy name, and D for only eating Krishna Prasad. So that is a particular diet. Only taking that thing which is offered to Krishna. So when you do ABCD, you're performing devotional service wherever you are. How many of you think this is possible by you? ABCD. Yeah, it's possible. Okay, it's very easy. And if you want to take it to the next level, devotional service also means the 9 limbs of devotional service. Show you. Yeah, I'll show you 9 limbs.
I have a question.
Yes.
So what counts as like prasadam? Like, do you just offer it to Krishna before you eat it, or like if you're eating at a restaurant, does that also count as like how you?
Krishna doesn't prefer restaurant food. Yeah, he prefers that you, out of love, cook something for him and offer it. It can be simple. Krishna demands in Bhagavad Gita, he doesn't demand, puri, paneer sabji and biryani. He says patram pushpam phalam toyam. Just offer some fruits, water, flower. But of course, the problem is we want to eat nicely, but we cannot make it also. So generally, we try to offer in the initial, whatever you eat, you offer it, but it should not contain onion, garlic. That's not offerable. So you can only offer those things which are offerable, and preferably that you cook or someone, actually devotee cooks. The ideal most standard is that a devotee cooks for the Lord because he cooks out of love. So if you cook for Krishna, offer it and then take, you will see it is even nourishing for your own health, physical health as well as spiritual health, both. So that is the actual standard. But otherwise, you get something from the store, okay, you offer it, beg Krishna to accept it. That's okay. But it's not contain at least no, onion, garlic. These things cannot contain those things. Yeah. You can offer, you can tell Krishna, I'm trying to learn cooking. So soon I'll cook for you. Okay, 9 limbs of devotional service. 9 limbs of devotional service are, first one is, yes, Shravanam means hearing about Krishna. And second one is, Kirtana means glorifying Krishna. When you want to glorify Krishna, you can glorify his activities, you can glorify his pastimes, you can glorify his name. And third one is, remembering, Smaranam, remembering Krishna. And then fourth one, Pada Sevanam, serving Krishna. And fifth one, Archanam, worshipping with puja paraphernalia. Worshipping Krishna, and then Vandanam, offering prayers to Krishna. Vandanam, Dasyam. Dasyam means, again, you're serving Krishna in a like a servant. Serving. You can say Pada Sevanam and Dasyam. Okay, let's see. How can you differentiate the two? Pada Sevanam, Dasyam. You can say Pada Sevanam is serving Krishna's lotus feet, actually, which can be Krishna's. Whenever we talk about Krishna's lotus feet, that means what do you find at Krishna's lotus feet? Or whom do you find? Okay, Tulsi, yeah, and devotees. Devotees always there. So serving Krishna's lotus means serving his devotees or serving Krishna's instructions. Like that. And this is serving Krishna, like being always there for whatever Krishna needs. Dasyam, Sakyam, being a friend. Can you be a friend to Krishna? Yeah, that's possible. That's Sakyam, being a friend. And Atmanivedana means complete surrender. Yeah. So these are the 9 limbs of devotional service. When you do hearing, glorifying, remembering, serving Krishna's lotus feet, worshipping, offering prayers, offering service, being a friend, and completely surrendering to Krishna's will. This is the way you perform devotional service. So one aspect, you have theoretical knowledge that you hear, you're developing knowledge, and second, you have practical action. Arjuna heard Bhagavad Gita and then he acted for Krishna. When he heard Bhagavad Gita and finally, what did he say after hearing Gita? He said, Nashta moha smritir labdha. Now, my dear Krishna, all my illusion is gone and my remembrance is coming. Now I will fight for you. Let me show you that also. Nashta moha. Is Nashta with H or Nashto? Nashto? Okay, we repeat this verse. See, this is 5 verses before the end of Bhagavad Gita. Arjuna finally says after hearing the entire Gita, Arjuna uvacha
Arjuna Vacha,
nashtamoha smritir labdha
Nashtamoha Sthirlabdha,
tad prasadan mayachita
Tadprasadanayanchuta,
sitosmi gata sandeha karishye vachanam tava. Finally, Arjuna is telling Krishna, my dear Lord, now all my illusion has been dispelled and I have attained remembrance of my duty. Tat prasadan mayachita, because of your mercy. Sito asmi gata sandeha, all my doubts have been dispersed, destroyed, and now because of which I am ready to do whatever you want. Karishye vachanam tava. So this is the result of Bhagavad Gita. So Arjuna heard and then he acted. 2 things. So when we hear about Krishna's position and then we act to develop, do some practical action of devotional service, 2 things that can make us dear to Krishna. That's what Prabhupada is saying in the purport. That's what Prabhupada says here. Man who is in full knowledge of the Supreme Lord and is at the same time executing devotional service is very dear to the Lord. So these 2 things we all can do. So we all can become dear to Krishna. He who is situated in pure knowledge of the transcendence of the Supreme Person of God is so protected in devotional service that material contamination cannot touch him. So 1, 2 verses after this also talks about the jñāni. So we'll just read and we can go ahead.
So, in the previous verse, like Srila Prabhupada said, one who is situated in pure transcendental knowledge is protected in devotional service. Does it mean like only like one who is acquiring knowledge but not executing devotional service?
This one, yeah, very good. Thank you for finding it out. So here, what does it say? When we perform devotional service, Krishna is there to protect our endeavors. Where is it? Yeah. One who is situated in pure knowledge of the transcendence, he is so protected in devotional service that material contamination cannot touch him. That means Arjuna was fighting the war, but did he get sinful reactions for killing? No. Why? Because he acted on Krishna's behalf, isn't it? So naturally in war, when you kill people, it is sinful, but because he is acting on Krishna's behalf, he was not touched by sin. That's Krishna's protection. Yeah. So similarly, when we go out for, you are serving Krishna, you are trying to, go do some books, you are trying to share the knowledge of Gita to others. That time, sometimes we have to go into, saloon, or sometimes we go into a meat shop where they're hanging, cows upside down. So it is a very contaminated place, but we still go. We give out books, and we come out. Krishna protects us from any kind of sinful reaction, isn't it? Because you're engaged in Krishna service, Krishna protects. Yeah. What is your question?
No, like Srila Prabhupada said, like only like being situated in pure knowledge of transcendence. So I assume this is only gaining knowledge, but not executing devout service.
No, being situated in pure knowledge of transcendence means you have complete understanding that who Krishna is.
And then executing devout service.
Yes, yes. Because to the degree you know Krishna, to that degree you want to serve him. Okay, so for example, one other example comes to my mind is when Yudhishthir in Mahabharata, he was asked to lie. You know, Yudhishthir is known for speaking the truth, and at one point in time, Krishna told him, Yudhishthir, I wanted to speak a lie that Ashwatthama is killed. So, because Dronacharya, only then would Dronacharya actually believe. If Bhima says Ashwatthama is killed, Dronacharya knows this fellow will do anything to win the war. So, he will not take him seriously. But if Yudhishthir would lie, then Dronacharya would take it seriously and he would go into Samadhi to mourn for the death of his son. So, that time Yudhishthir had a choice to lie or not to lie. How many of you would lie? You are in position of Yudhishthir and Krishna is asking you to lie. How many of you are ready to lie? Actually, in Kali Yuga it's pretty easy because even if Krishna doesn't ask, we lie. Isn't it? Without asking, we lie. But we have to understand in 5,000 years ago that wasn't the case. 5,000 years ago to lie is like a big thing. It's like committing a theft from a jewelry store or something. It's a big thing. And then Krishna is asking you to do that. For example, Krishna is asking Arjuna to kill his relatives. How many of you can do that? When Krishna asks you to kill your relatives, you can kill? Yeah, see? Not easy. Similarly, lying is also at that level. But nonetheless, Kali Yuga has made it easy for us to surrender to Krishna. So, Krishna is telling Arjuna to kill his relatives. Yes, he is ready to kill. But when he asked Yudhishthir to lie, Yudhishthir said, what will happen if I lie? But he did not understand that if you act on behalf of Krishna, Krishna will protect you from any kind of sinful reactions. And that is the essence of the Bhagavad Gita. Sarva dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshishyami, Krishna says. If you give up all other kinds of dharma, all the subdharmas, being honest, being polite, taking care of relatives, anything which is against the topmost dharma of surrendering to Krishna. If your subdharma has become an obstacle to your parodharma, the higher dharma, then the subdharma has to be given up. So Krishna says, Sarva dharma and such dharma you give up and surrender to me. If you do that, then I will protect you from all sinful reactions. And that's what Arjuna did. But Yudhishthira didn't do that. And therefore, his chariot, which was always flying in the sky, it would never touch the ground. At that time, it touched the ground because he lost piety. Isn't it? So therefore, whatever we do for Krishna, we can be rest assured, Krishna will protect us. But at the same time, Krishna should tell you that. Not like today, certain terrorists, they say, we kill others, other religious people, or people of other religion, and then Allah is happy. That is their own concoction. That's not written anywhere. Isn't it? So, of course, but if Krishna wants us to do something, then we don't care. Then we have to do it for dharma. What God says is dharma. Dharmam tu sakshat bhagavat pranitam. It is said like that. Is that clear? Thank you for pointing. This is a very important statement. Okay, so we'll just recite the other verses. Udara sarva evaite jnāni tvatmaiva me matam आस्तितः हि युक्तात्मा मामेवानुत्तमां गतिम्. Translation.
All these devotees are undoubtedly
Magnanimous.
souls. But he who is situated in knowledge of me, I consider to be just like my own self. Being engaged in my transcendental service, he is sure to attain me, the highest and most perfect goal.
Hmm? Krishna is saying anyone who comes to me for whatever reason, because they come to me, all of these are magnanimous souls. They're all great. Hmm? But still, amongst them, the jnani is the best. Okay? We'll do the purport next time. And then finally, he says this very famous verse: Bahunam janmanamante jnanavan mam prapadyate vasudeva sarvamiti samahatma sudurlabha. And this jnani is very rare. This jnani is not an ordinary person. Bahunam janmanam ante, at the end of many, many, many millions of lifetimes, one becomes a jnani. Jnanavam mam prapadyate. And finally he understands, after a lot of spiritual practice, that yes, Vasudeva Sarvamiti, Krishna is everything. So if you understand all that, today you will say, okay, Krishna is everything. Then you have attained progress which is worth millions of lifetimes. That's what Krishna is saying. To understand that and come to that conclusion, many, many lifetimes are passed to come to that conclusion. And such a great soul, Mahatma means, Maha means great, and Atma is soul, great soul. Such a great soul is very rare, Krishna says. So these two we'll do next time. I mean, it's all in the same flow, so you can quickly read the translation.
After many births and deaths, he who is actually in knowledge surrenders unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that is. Such a great soul is very rare.
Yeah. So if you want to be unique, not just part of the common general mass, then you have to become devotee of Krishna, because such a devotee is very rare. Yeah, ठीक है. We'll see it next time. So we'll pause here. Oh, I wasn't sharing this. Anyway. How do I stop this? Oh, share the screen. Okay. Okay, Mancha is asking, how can Krishna be there in so many places at the same time? Yeah, because he's God. That Krishna can do. Because God means he has no limitation. One definition of God is one who is unlimited. So he can do that. Krishna can expand. Like when he was, Krishna can expand into every atom. Krishna, it is said in the Bhagavad Gita that Krishna is holding all the planets together. And it is also mentioned how Krishna enters between the atoms and he is holding the atoms together. You might call it covalent bonding and Van der Waals force and whatnot. Van der Waals took the name, he gave his name, Van der Waals force, Krishna's force. Krishna is holding the atoms together. So, and he is also situated as Paramatma in everyone's heart. So, and Krishna can do that. And when we come to 13th chapter, we'll understand that Krishna, because he is situated as Paramatma in everyone's heart, he knows everything about this body. We might not know. When you put the food, we don't know how it is getting digested, but you just digest it, isn't it? Because actually we are not digesting. Who digests it? When we put the food, who's digesting it? Fire.
Krishna says,
Yes, Krishna is present in the belly as Vaishvanara Bhutva. Vaishvanara Bhutva is the digestive fire. That fire, Krishna is present as the fire to digest your food. So you just take pizza, pasta at night, but Krishna has to work hard then later on, isn't it? So Krishna is also present inside as the fire. So like that, as we come to 13th chapter, you'll find Krishna is actually present everywhere. Yes.
Just one question. You said he's present in like different forces, different forms. Are all those forms and forces equal, or they're all different based on like because he's everywhere pretty much? So would all those be equal to himself, or
Yeah, they're all equal to himself.
okay,
Yes, they're equally potent.
okay.
Yes.
And should that someone gets liberated, all the 100 generations of this gets liberated?
Yeah, many generations. Some say 14, some say 21. many generations up and down, they all get liberated. So how we understand is no one is forcefully liberated, but they are given an opportunity to get liberated. Like Prahlad, he was Narasimha offered him. He told him, why are you worrying about Hiranyakashipu? He is already liberated because he happened to be your father. But not just him, many generations up and many further upcoming generations, they all liberated. Like that. If you become a devotee, for that you will become a devotee. Very good. Okay. So thank you very much for your kind attention. So we will chant one round.